Okay, konnichiwa, Japan, and thanks for nice introduction, Ogia-san. I would like to thanks Ogia-san, Nakajima-san, Oikawa-san, JII, JIII, and JIPII for giving me this opportunity to represent my country and share my knowledge about the national IP policy of India. Right? The time allotted 30 minutes is very less because I generally used to speak for 1 hour, 2 hour, or even a half day. Right. And thank you, Nugen-san, for finishing your lecture little early so I can utilize his time. Right? Okay. So the topic is common, the introduction of national IP policy of India. I will start my presentation with introduction to Indo-Japan relation, followed by Indian position in the global IP filings, Indian IPR regime, and lastly to the national IP policy that we have received recently last year. Before, in terms of Indo-Japan relation, I would like to tell a story. Do you like to having a story? During World War II, so many animals had been poisoned in Tokyo, means in Japan, or starved to death. And there are very few animals survived at that time. And so, especially the children from Japan traveled in an elephant ride train to visit the only surviving elephant into the Nagoya's Higashiyama Zoo by train ride. But the children of Tokyo were not able to ride on the train because of the affordability at that time. And the children of Tokyo requested to restore an elephant nearby so they can also enjoy or they can also see the elephant. And that request was fulfilled by then Prime Minister of India, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, and he gifted the baby elephant to Ueno Zoo of Tokyo and naming after his daughter Indira. And that baby elephant brought much joy to the Japanese children in Tokyo specifically. And in the later, with this gift of baby elephant, Mr. Nehru mentioned that I hope that when the children of India and the children of Japan grown up, they will serve not only to their nations, their great nations, but the cause of peace and cooperation will cooperation all over Asia and the world. So you must look upon this elephant as a messenger of affection and goodwill from the children of Japan and children of India. So this was the starting of the relation of India and Japan, and it's still continuing, and I hope that it will go develop further in the future. So in my next slide, means the story already covered on the second point, but it was began in the 6th century when Buddhism was introduced into the Japan, right? In terms of business or treaty agreement signed, I can say after World War II, when again the then Prime Minister Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru declined to sign the Peace Treaty of San Francisco, which Japan found as offending to its dignity. And India signed separate Treaty of Peace in 1952, that was the first one, for the purpose of giving Japan a proper position of honor and equality among the community of free nations. Right, that was the first treaty signed by India with Japan, and the latest one was on the civil nuclear agreement in 2016. So this is about the Indo-Japan relation. Now, next we move to the global data on IP filing and what is the position of India in that. This data is released by WIPO. about the global data, global IP filing in year 2015. If we consider the patent filings, we feel very sad because we are nowhere, neither in the first 5 patent office, top 5 patent office, nor in the highest application growth rate countries. So that send or that initiated the thoughts to the government and patent office to look it very seriously and to make all the efforts to make our position in any of this, either top 5 or the highest application growing rates in term of patent filings. In term of industrial design, we are able to get listed in the highest growth rate country, but not in the top 5 offices in term of registration of industrial design. And in term of trademark, you can see India in both the column. It's also there in the top 5 office and also there in the highest growth rate. So in trademark and design, we are still comfortable, but the main concern is patent filing. The India is very lacking behind in the patent filing from the global filing data point of view. And that's the reason the government has initiated very fastly to build or to frame a IP policy to increase the ranking of the specifically the patent filing on the global. So next is the Indian IPR law regime. We are having the so many acts starting from Copyright Act, which was introduced in 1957. Before that also there are so many legal systems available, but official acts was first in 1957. And then time by time we are having those Patent Act, Trademark Act, GI Act, Design Act, Semiconductor IC Layout Design Act, Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right, Biological Diversity Act in 2002, and last we received our national IPR policy in 2016. Just last month in May 2016, the cabinet has approved first official national IP policy of India. So now the first IP Act, that is Copyright Act, was introduced in 1957 and we got our first national IP policy in 2016. So much gap. What was the reason? The reason was the previously government was focusing on other development issue. For them, the technology or innovation was not on the priority list. They are having some different priority list. But since 2014 or mid 2014, since last 2 years, we are seeing so many changes in the Indian system, Indian laws, Indian infrastructures, technology, so many things. We are seeing into the India, and I think not in India, around the world, everybody is marking the changes or development going on into the India because of one visionary man we are having with us as a government. Now, as a government would take his charge since 2014 as a government. Any guess? Any guess who is that person? He is that person. Yeah. I don't think any introduction required. Is there anyone who doesn't know this man? Yeah, he is our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and he is a very visionary man. He understands the importance of technology, infrastructure, innovation, entrepreneurship, and he understands if you want to develop a country, if you want to grow your country, and you want to put into the rank of the developing nations, you have to be with technology, you have to be with innovations, you have to be with entrepreneurship, startups, and all this. Since he's taking his charge in 2014, he has initiated so many campaigns to do that transition and to make India better. And these are the few campaigns which are directly or indirectly related to invention, innovations, or entrepreneurship and all this. So because of that, all these efforts, we have received, or we have now final national IP policy of India. It's official. We can the purpose of IP policy is to increase our ranking into the global IP filing, to make our presence globally. The creativity and innovation have been constant in growth and development of any knowledge economy. India has already TRIPS compliant, robust, equitable and dynamic IPR regime. Addition of IPR policy will promote a holistic and conducive ecosystem to catalyze the full potential of IP for Indians' economic growth and socio-cultural development, at the same time protecting the public interest. So if I go to the policy has a clear-cut vision and mission statement, and it is self-explanatory. The purpose is the India where creativity and innovation are stimulated by IP and benefit for all. The India where advancement in science and technology, art and culture, traditional knowledge and biodiversity resources. In India where knowledge is the main driver of development and knowledge earned is transferred into the knowledge shared. The mission is also self-explanatory, that stimulate a dynamic, vibrant and balanced IP system in India to foster creativity and innovations and thereby promote the entrepreneurship. Focus on enhancing access to healthcare, food security and environmental protection among other sectors that is vital, like social, economic and technological importance. As per policy, they have laid down 7 objectives to achieve that goal. The main focus is on IPR awareness, generation of IPR, legal and legislative framework, administration and management, commercialization of IPR, enforcement and adjudication, and human capital development. These are the 7 objectives has been provided into the IP policy, and the various agenda, how the government is planning to achieve this under the each agenda and headlines. So I will go through each all 7 objectives, what is laid down, and at the same time I will also try to convey what is the current scenario at present. The policy say that we will do this in future to reach to our goal. But against that, what is currently going on in that particular objective sector? I will focus more on what is currently going on rather than going through all the text material which is already laid down into the policy. The policy is a 19-page policy which is already available in the on the free download, and we can have access. So in terms of first objective, IPR awareness, outreach and promotion, to create public awareness about the economic, social and culture benefits of IPR among all sections of the society. So what policy say? They adopt the national slogan, Creative India, Innovative India, and link it with the other government initiatives which are directly or indirectly related to that. Create a system campaign for promotion of India's IP strength, specifically focusing on the SMEs, MSMEs, startups and R&Ds, reaching out to the less visible peoples like farmers, individual artisans, technocrats who are not much aware, who are not accessible to these innovations and inventions, the importance of IPR and all this, including the case studies of success use of IPRs that can encourage the people, promoting the idea of high quality and cost effective innovations, involving eminent functionality as ambassador to spread the awareness, use audio, visual or other media for the propagations, and creating material for IP promotion in multi-language and pictorial form, because India has having the almost more than 20 languages. So it is, and also there are so many areas where people doesn't comfortable with the English language. So we have to prepare a material which is comfortable for each region, so that each people can understand the things what government want to convey. Create awareness program targeting the industry and R&D entities. Create well-established events and programs to emphasize the importance of IP, specifically celebrating the World IP Day. Also setting up India's Hall of Fame to create IP innovators. Create suitable IP course material for the educational institutes. Engage with media to sensitize them regarding the IP related issues. There are so many points they have laid down how they want to achieve the goal of creating or spreading the IPR awareness among the people. So against that, what is the current scenario? What efforts has been already taken care by either IPO or any other public funded R&D organization or any other organizations? In terms of patent office, I say they are having the one particular page as a resources where they have the e-learning modules of all the IPR aspects, that is patent, trademark, copyright and designs, in a very FAQ languages, very layman language, so anybody can understand what is this, what is patent, what is the importance, how to file, what is patentable, what is not patentable, such type of e-learning resources available. IP awareness related so many presentations and campaigns they are running. And there is a one more special section into the IP Patent Office website, that is Kids Nook, that is specially for the children's educating children about the what is IPR, what is the importance of IPR, so they can be taught at their school level. And I think the inspiration for starting this Kids Nook series is not other than the Japan, because Japan is having all such materials for having animations for the IP education and awareness. IPO, the patent office already spent 25.66 lakh on IPR awareness during the year 2015-16. The one more branch of IPO, that is called as the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of IP Management, is also engaged into the training of basic, advanced to all the people who are involved into the IPR industry, either from university, from R&D, from company, private or public, or even the IP office examiners who are recently joining patent office. The RG NIIPM has also conducted 53 trainings and awareness program during 2015-16. There are other sectors that like Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, that is FICCI. They are also running so many courses and campaigns for the IPR awareness. Ministry of Electronic and IT is also running IPR cells, also providing some reimbursement for the patent registration and some courses, or specifically the video tutor material for the IP awareness. Confederation of Indian Industry CII is also having such provision of IPR awareness. National Innovation Council NIC, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR, Sale of IPR Promotion and Management CPAM, that is the part of the National IP Policy. I have given the link for each if you can refer at your own time. What sort of efforts they are putting. They are having any courses, they are having any campaigns for the IPR awareness. Second objective is IPR generation, to stimulate the generation of IPR. The agenda says carry out IP audit or baseline survey and evaluate areas of strength and potential and prioritize target group of inventors. Encourage researcher by linking the IP creation with key performance and career progress, providing uniform guideline on the royalty sharing, providing guidance to focus on national priority areas, and creating industry academia interface to have better outcome of the research work. Incentivize the IP generation by tax benefit, financial support, loan guarantee scheme, and special incentive for IPR in a green technology or energy efficient technology. Encourage open source drug discovery for new invention for prevention, diagnosis, and a treatment of life-threatening disease. Ambit of traditional knowledge, digital library needs to be expanded beyond the Ayurvedic, Siddha, and Unani. There are so many others parts can be included into the TKDL library. Introduce IPR into curriculum of the university, laws and technical institutes. Increase awareness of the international mechanism, especially in the PCT, Madrid and Hague, to encourage IPR protection internationally. Encourage the innovation in agriculture and pisciculture through application of IP. Encourage the GI registration with the support institutions. Encourage the creation of design related IP rights by promoting innovations protectable under design law. Take steps to increase the domestic patent filings and promote India's rich heritage of traditional knowledge with effective involvement of holders of such knowledge. That was the agenda of policy. What currently going on? What is the current scenario? There are so many patent information centers governed which provide the informations related to initial what to do before patent filing, how to do patent filing, and what to do after patent filing. Such type of guidance. The same thing is provided by patent facilitation centers at the either something as a free of cost and some at a very reduced cost. The third is patent registration reimbursement scheme. As I told you, the MATI, this department is also providing the 50% or 15 lakhs Indian rupees as a reimbursement on the expense you have done for the patent registration, not even in India, not only in India, but internationally also. In terms of specific Gujarat state from which I belongs, they have 75% or up to 25 lakhs of reimbursement for the patent filing registration process. It is not only the official, it covers patent of attorney fees also, right? So these are the one provision which can encourage someone who is really interested for the patent filings in India as well as abroad. The scheme for facilitating startups for IP registration. Recently, the patent office has introduced this scheme where if you are a startup and you are qualifying as a startup, you can enjoy the reduced fees of patent filing compared to the legal entity or compared to a big company. There are also national IP awards that since 2009, Indian Patent Office in collaboration with DIPP, CII is awarding annual IP awards to encourage people for filing more patents and commercialize their innovations into the India. There is also a open source drug discovery in place. CSIR is also working hard for the filing patents, generating the revenues from that patent they have filed by commercialization. National Innovation Foundation, this is particularly encouraging the grassroots innovators, the individual innovators or artisans to file patent and to commercialize their patents into the better way. National Innovation Council is also offering so many benefits for the IP filings. Many incentives and tax benefits already there into the system for the R&D centers. Reduced tax on income generated from the patent commercialization or royalty. This has been also introduced recently. Third is the legal and legislative framework to have strong and effective IPR laws which balance the interest of right owners and larger public interest. The main purpose is to review the existing IP laws and rules and update or improve them for clarity, simplification and streamlining. Engage constructively in negotiation of the international treaties and agreements in consultation with the stakeholders to examine accession to some multilateral treaties which are of India's interest, or to develop the legally binding international instruments to protect traditional knowledge, genetic resources and traditional cultural expressions. Undertake an in-depth study to determine the appropriateness and extent of applying existing law to protect TK, GR and TCE. Identify important areas of study and research for future policy development. The Indian Cinematography Act 1952 may be suitably amended to introduce provision against illegal duplication of the films, identify important areas of study and research for future policy development, such as interplay among IP law to remove ambiguities, if any, IP interface with competition law and policy, guidance for authorities whose jurisdiction impact administration or enforcement of the IPR, protection of the trade secrets, examine the issue of technology transfer and know-how and licensing related to SEPs, standard essential patents, on fair and reasonable terms, and provide the legal framework to assess this issue, that is FRAND terms. So in terms of legal and legislative framework, what currently the government is doing, patent rules has been amended recently last year to make it streamlined, to make it more comfortable for the applicants. What some changes, means some major changes are that there is special fee reduction for the startups. Expedite examination is possible if you are a startup or if you are choosing or selecting India as a search authority in your PCT National Affairs application. Reduction in the timeline to response your first objection report, that is earlier it was 12 months, now it is 6 months, which can be extended further to 3 months, but not more than, total should not be more than 9 months. 90% refund of fees on withdrawal of your patent application before examination. This is introduced first time that you will get the refund of your 90% refund of your fees if you are withdrawing your application before it start the examination. The purpose is to reduce the backlog, which are having very huge. 21 days timeline has been fixed to get the foreign filing license. Hearing through video conference, arrangement of video conference for the hearing, and e-submission or e-filing is mandatory for the patent agents. So these are the changes, patent amendment last year which have introduced to smoothen the process, to make it more speedy and effective. In terms of trademark rules, there are so many amendments is under discussion but not yet finalized. India also was the first country to ratify the Marrakesh Treaty, which is for the publication, access to the publication of the disabled. And for the DIPP has also published the discussion paper on the standard essential patents and their availability on the FRAND terms and invited comments from the public. So it is under review. Once it is final, they will publish the final discussion paper or one sort of guideline for such SEP patents and the FRAND terms. In terms of administration and management, to modernize and strengthen the service-oriented IPR administration, the Administration of Copyright Act and the Semiconductor Integrated Circuit Layout Design Act is being transferred to DIPP, which was earlier with different administration, and it has been done to streamline the process. Create cell for IPR promotion and management, that is CPAM, to facilitate the promotion, creation and commercialization of IP assets, which already established and started working. Study and review the organizational and cadre structure, process of recruitment, training, career development, and performance-based incentive to attract and retain the best talent, because the attrition rate at the IP office is also a much concern for them, because there is already a shortage of the manpower at the patent office in terms of patent examiner, and if high attrition rate is there, the question will remain same, although they recruit the more new examiners, but the same number of examiners, if they are leaving the IP office, the shortage of manpower will remain same. So they are planning to frame a structure where they can attract and retain the best talent among the IP office. Modernize physical and ICT tech infrastructure to accelerate the e-filing, e-processing and other e-services to make process much faster and transparent. Promote interaction and collaboration between IPOs and other R&D institute or the other stakeholders. Promote cooperation with IP offices in other countries and in areas of capacity building, HR development, training, database access, search and examination, and use of ICT and user-oriented services with the help of other IP offices. Restructure and upgrade of the modernization of the CGPTM, that is nothing but the IP office, patent office. There are so improvement into the structure, database for the e-filing and all this. So this I'm just not going through. You can have a look. But the purpose is to restructure and upgrade the infrastructure of the IPR to handle huge load and to handle the digitization or e-filing or e-processing. So in terms of what is currently going on, so as I told you, the Center for IP Management has been already formed and implemented and started working to promote the filing and commercialization of the IP, specifically to the individual inventors, startups and entrepreneurs. Digitization and ICT infrastructure has been improved a lot, and this can be visible by most of the process diverted to online from the offline. Mandatory e-filing for the patent attorneys or agents. Fees reduction for e-filing compared to the offline. There is a 10% fees reduction if you do the e-filing rather than off-filing. Improved online search database. Now we have very compared to previous, we have much smoother and better search database available at the patent office. IPO officers started meeting with the stakeholder to discuss the issues. In every month they meet with the stakeholders to discuss the issue what they are facing and try to solve them so that there will be a good process at the patent office which is comfortable for the applicants. IPO, the patent office has already signed two MOUs in 2016, one with the UK patent office and second with the Singapore patent office. Started working to reduce the backlog and shorten the timeline of the IP registration, which I think it's a very big headache, not only for India but many other countries. And to reduce this backlog, patent office has already recruited 458 patent examiners. Out of that, 396 has been already joined, and remaining will join soon after completion of the trainings. Additional 263 patent examiner will be hired on the contract basis. In terms of trademark, they have already hired 100 trademark examiners on the contract basis, and all these efforts are visible into the result because for trademark examination timeline has been now reduced to 8 months from 13 to 16 months, and further have planned to reduce it to 1 month by March 2016. By next month we'll be having only the timeline of 1 month for the trademark examination. In terms of patent examination, the target of lowering the current timeline of examination, that is 5 to 7 years, into the just 18 months, but it is by March 2018 we will be able to achieve that the patent examination timeline will be reduced to 18 months. One more initiation from the IP office is the auto allocation of patent application for examination to the patent office based on the workload of that particular patent office to balance the workload among the all patent offices. Patent office has conducted the patent agent exam in November 2016 after almost 2 or 3 years, and also deliver the result in just January 2017. Within a 2 months they have delivered a result, which previously they used to take 6 to 8 months to deliver a result. And trademark agent exam was also conducted in 2015, and now they will planning to regularly conduct both the exams every year. Already set up a task force on innovation to strengthen ecosystem of innovations in September 2016. And all these changes to speed up the process, to make it transparent, to make it streamlined, is happened because of the Japan. Any guess why? We thank Japan for having all these changes and amendments into the system. Because there is a one company in Japan, Nito Denko, who filed, he has filed patent application in India, and their patent application was not examined for so many years. So they filed the petition in Delhi High Court, and it has been taken very seriously and put a pressure on the government and IPOs to resolve this issue and to come up with the action plan. And as the efforts, or as a result, because of that only, we are able to see all these changes in a very short period of time because of that pressure. So thank you, Nito Denko. So fifth is the commercialization of the IPR. To get value of IPR through commercializations, you can have awareness, you can create awareness to people, you can encourage them to file the IPR, but what after that? If they do not commercialize that invention, there is no any purpose of filing IPR, right? So the fifth objective is commercialization of IPR, or promoting the commercialization. The CPAM shall undertake the following tasks: to provide platform for the IPR owners by acting as a facilitator for innovator to be connected with the potential user, buyer, and funding agencies. Undertake a study to examine feasibility of IPR exchange. Facilitate access to database on Indian IP and global databases of IPR creator and innovator, market analysis, and funding agencies. Implement best practice for promotion and commercialization of IP. Promote licensing and technology transfer of IPR. Provide single window service to commercialization of the IPR. And incentivize Indian inventors, MSME and startups to acquire and commercialize the IP. Promote going to market activities like creating mechanism to validate pilot scale up through market testing. Provide seed fund for marketing activities. Providing guidance and support to IPR owners about commercial opportunities through e-commerce. And encouraging enterprise to create brand equity from their IP rights such as trademark and GIs. Identify opportunities for marketing Indian IPR based product, especially GIs and service to global audience, and examine availability of the SAPs on a front terms. So these are the agendas laid down by the policy. Further, support financial aspect of IPR commercialization. Ensure enhanced access to affordable medicine by encouraging cross-sector partnership between the public and private sector. Promoting novel licensing models on developing a novel technology platform to make medicines available which is innovative but still affordable. Streamline regulatory process to ensure timely approval for manufacturing and marketing drugs while maintaining the safety and efficacy standards. Incentivize domestic API manufacturers and revitalizing the public sector undertaking into the healthcare sector specifically. So in terms of commercialization of IPR, what is the current situation in India? I must say it is very weak. There are few organizations which are working on this, but not much effectively. There is National Research Development Corporation, that is NRDC, National Innovation Foundation, NIF, Venture Center Outreach Center, and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. All these organizations are working for or helping the innovators for the commercialization of the IPR, but not up to that mark. And we need to work a lot in this particular area. And we also need to establish or publish or what you can promote some success story that can encourage the people for the commercialization of the IPR in effective way. Sixth objective is enforcement and adjudication to strengthen the enforcement and adjudicatory mechanism for combating the IPR infringements, which is also key aspects. In terms of enforcement, what policies say, they create awareness of IP value and respect for IP culture by educating general public on ills of counterfeit, engaging with all levels of industry including e-commerce, sensitizing creators of IP on measures of protection and enforcement of their rights, undertake stringent measures to curb manufacture and sale of the misbranded, adulterated or spurious drugs, public awareness on enforcement mechanism to combat piracy, supports small technology firms for protecting and safeguarding their IP rights internationally, pursue incidents of misappropriation of TK, traditional knowledge, genetic resources, and TCE in other countries vigorously, licensing practice that may have adverse impact on competition should be addressed through appropriate measures, strengthen the enforcement mechanism for better protection of IP rights by enhanced coordination between various agencies, working closely with government for with state government for establishment of IP cells for curbing the IP offenses, augmenting the manpower, infrastructure and technology capabilities, providing regular training for officials in the enforcement agencies, taking up the issue of Indian works and the products being counterfeited abroad. Next is facilitate effective adjudication of IP disputes through different measures like specialized IP commercial court, creating IP modules including case law for benefit of the judge, and promoting ADRs in the resolution of the IP cases. So these are the agenda laid down by the policy. And what is the current scenario? The creating IPR awareness through many initiatives already in the process. Current court judges are learning from international cases because in India we do not have much IP litigation cases and judges or judiciary people are not much aware. So they are learning from the international cases from the developed countries, and yeah, I accept that much more work to be done in this area to make it strict enforcement. Recently in January 2017, DIPP and Patent Office has released an IP enforcement toolkit specifically for the police and the custom offices to make them aware how to handle any issues related to IP. 7 is the human capital development objective to strengthen and expand human resources, institutions and capacities for teaching, training, research and skill building in IPRs. The agenda says strengthening and empower the RGNII PM, which is the training institute handled by the Patent Office, strengthen the IP chairs in educational institutes for higher learning, introduce multidisciplinary IP courses or modules for all training institutes, make an IPR integral part of the curriculums, strengthen existing and creating new IPR cells, encourage formation of IP policy at all the government department, other institutes, progressively introduce IP teaching in schools and colleges, develop distance learning or e-courses on IP, strengthen the IP teaching, research and training in collaboration with the WIPO, WTO and other international organizations, encourage and support capacity building among female creators, innovators, entrepreneurs, teachers and trainers. So this is creating about the human resource development for benefit of the IPO. And in terms of current scenario, as I told, the patent office has already recruited 458 patent examiners last year. There are also hired new trademark examiners on the contract basis. RGNII PM is improving day by day. They are reaching to the many part of the societies to make awareness and to train them on the different aspects of the IP. Many distance learning courses are available and number of courses are increasing day by day. CSIR is also running a female scientist scheme by DST to encourage them for the learning the IP with stipend. Introduction of IPR into the curriculum already started. So many universities, even private, in public is already there, but in private institution and universities, now I am receiving so many queries from universities about drafting their IP policy, because they are now taking this seriously, because they are facing some problems with respect to who will be the holding how much percentage, who will be the owner of this particular IP rights and all this. So they are now drafting a particular IP policy to avoid any confusion later on. And also IP Summer School, which is run by WIPO, has started the Indian location particularly in just last year, which was earlier not available. So these were the objectives which IP policy says, and by how they want to fulfill that. In terms of implementation part, IP in India is regulated by several laws, rules and regulations under the jurisdiction of different ministers and departments. So it is a challenge to uniform, harmonize all, streamline and maintain the particular streamlined process. In Japan, you have one patent office, right? Only one patent office. US is also one patent office. UK, one patent office. But in India, we have 4 patent office. We have 4 patent office, 5 trademark registry, 1 design registry, 1 GI registry, 1 copyright registry. So handle them all with uniformity is a bit difficult task, right? So implementation, it's a very critical thing. The legal provisions need to be implemented harmoniously. Legal, technological, economic and socio-cultural issue arises in different field and need to be resolved by consensus in the best public interest. International, regional and bilateral negotiation require development a common national position in consultation with different ministries and authorities. IP policy aims to integrate IP as a strategic tool in national development plan. The need for a holistic approach to be taken on IP legal, administrative, institutional and enforcement related matters. DIPP shall be the nodal point to coordinate, guide and oversee the implementation part of this IP policy and the future development of IPR in India. And yes, the actual implementation will remain with minister departments concerned in their assigned sphere of work, along with public and private sector institution and other stakeholders including state government. So it will be a combined effort for implementing this IPR policy in coming future to take end up with a good result out of this particular policy that we have framed. So this is the snapshot of whole IPR policy. The all points are covered in the pictorial form. You can have a look. The criteria like the incentivize IP asset, legislative framework updation, administration of IP office, IPR commercialization, adjudication and enforcement, incentivize on emerging technologies and IPR generation, and facilitate collaboration. So just one snapshot. Final the summary point and the way forward. Yeah, DIPP will be the nodal agency. IP policy aims to promote IPR as a marketable financial asset, promote innovative culture while protecting the public interest at the same time. To build strong and effective IPR laws, step will be taken. Policy is fully TRIPS compliant. Special weight on awareness generation and effective enforcement in addition to encouragement of the IP commercialization through various incentives. India will engage constructively in negotiation on international treaties. Policy seeks to facilitate domestic IPR filing for the entire value chain from IPR generation to the commercialization. It aims to promote research and development through tax benefits. Policy left current patent law intact, specifically section 3D and section 84, which is about compulsory licensing. policy will be reviewed every 5 years in consultation with the stakeholders. And yes, the main part is we have policy, but the implementation is the critical to get success out of this framed policy, right? धन्यवाद, arigato gozaimasu.